Hola amigos, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Emma Bennet. I am a contemporary romance writer from the UK, and today I would like to share my reading wrap-up from September 2023. I like to do this every month just to share the books that I have particularly enjoyed. I didn't think that September had been a great reading month. Actually, I've been so busy. I released 2 books within a couple of weeks of each other, so it's been a bit nuts, as well as a lot of family stuff. But actually, when I collected the books all together, it wasn't so bad. I was pleasantly surprised, and I even listened to a couple of audiobooks, which was lovely because I'm really wanting to get more into audiobooks, but I find that my mind wanders generally. But what I have discovered is that I'm better if they're non-fiction books, which is something that was a suggestion from Barrett Laurie, who's another author tuber. So that was really handy that he suggested that. So maybe we should start with the audiobooks. Obviously I don't have them here, so in my true professionalism I have a little pink post-it with the names on. So the first one was called The Why, and it's Healthy Habits for an Epic Life by Isabel Cornish. So this was a really sweet book. Very, very positive, lots of nice ideas, quite hippie-ish. A tiny bit too hippie-ish for me, really. And the other thing is, bless her, she's in her 20s. She's so young, and I'm kind of like, life advice, really? Okay, yeah. Maybe she needs a few more miles on the clock. I don't know. But she had some lovely things to say, and she has actually got a lot of life experience. She's been through a lot mentally. She's had a lot of very cool experiences, so it was a fun book to listen to. I enjoyed it. And then the second one was called 8 Rules of Love: How to Find It, Keep It and Let It Go by Jay Shetty, like Shetland Island, we'll go with Shetty. This was really sweet. I actually listened to this because I thought it might be quite handy for my writing, because obviously I'm a romance writer, and you want to know how love works, how people kind of work together in a good relationship so that the reader believes that they're meant to be together, you know, how they support each other and things like that. And it was really lovely. He had so many cool things to say about self-love, as well as romantic love, and as well as kind of loving friends and family and things like that. And yeah, it was absolutely lovely listen. I really enjoyed it, and I may actually get the paperback copy of that book because it was so good. Now, what should we do next? Should we do non-fiction? I feel we could do non-fiction. Okay, so How to Write Your First Novel by Sophie King. I actually bought this a few months ago for the writing class that I teach, and I'd had a little bit of a flick through it before, but I read it all in just a couple of days. It's not actually very long. I was particularly interested in the section about writing believable characters, because that's what we were covering in my writing class. And yeah, Sophie King, she does it well. It's a nice little guide, especially if, like she says, if it is your first novel that you're writing. I'm not sure that experienced novelists would get much out of this, but then that's not who this book is being marketed towards, so that's fine. Yeah, it was nice. It's a nice easy read with lots of good ideas in there. It seemed to be very much for women rather than for male writers. There was quite a bit just about kind of like, particularly if you're like a working mother or something like that, and you're writing stories, and also quite a lot about kind of actually writing women's fiction and chick lit and romance and things like that. So I probably would suggest this more for a female writer than for a male writer, maybe, but I think anybody would get something out of it. It was good. Then next we have Venus and Aphrodite, History of a Goddess by Bethany Hughes. I am a bit of a Greek myth nerd. I absolutely love them. Actually, I love all myths. I love the Roman myths, the Norse myths. I love myths. There we go. I love mythology. This was really cool, kind of talking about how the goddess changed through ancient times, her beginnings, and then obviously when she was known as Aphrodite to the Greeks, and then when she became known as Venus to the Romans, and how differently she was seen and how differently she was represented and why. And so, yeah, it was interesting. It wasn't a heavy read at all. It didn't take me very long to read this, but it was very informative and I enjoyed it. What else have we got? Right, the final non-fiction is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've heard a lot about this book over the years because it's like 25 years old, possibly longer than that, because it says celebrating 25 years. This is a library book, and I'm not sure how long this has been out. It's been out a little while. Copyright is 1997. That's quite a long time ago. I thought he had some interesting ideas, particularly there's like study session sections in here, which I didn't really feel were necessary for me. Maybe some people might find them useful. Yeah, he had some interesting ideas. Basically, it's about how you need to be aware of what your assets are and what your liabilities are, and the difference between those two in order to build wealth, how to get more assets and less liabilities. So it was really interesting, and you know, everybody should know more about their personal finances and just understand the financial stuff that they need for their day-to-day lives. So yeah, I'd pretty much recommend it. Yeah. Right, so then fiction. So I felt there was more fiction. Have I missed out one? I feel I read more fiction than this. I'll probably find it when I go back inside now. Diana Wynne Jones, Castle in the Air. We bought this because, kind of under false pretenses, we thought it was the sequel to Howl's Moving Castle, and it kind of is, but it also kind of isn't. And I was reading this to my youngest son because we really enjoyed Howl's Moving Castle. So he was a bit disappointed that there's not enough Howl in it, but it was a great story in its own right, and we did really enjoy this. We've actually read this over like a little bit of, probably a longer period. It took us quite a long time to get through it, but that was just because we've been so busy that we weren't necessarily doing very much of it like every day. But it was really good. Yeah, highly recommended, although maybe not as great as Howl's Moving Castle, which is a complete classic. Then we have this book, Ink, by Alice Broadway. I picked this book up from the library just because it looked so beautiful, and it wasn't even face out. It was just like that on the shelf, and it spoke to me. I thought it was really, really gorgeous. So it's a YA dystopian novel about so it's set in this town with this young woman. She's just finished school and she's going off to start her trade, and basically in this place everybody is tattooed, and you get a tattoo for everything. Like for every year that you live you get a tattoo. If you have a child, then it's tattooed on you. Whatever your job is, you have a tattoo. Also, if you commit a crime, you get a tattoo. And her father has died, and when people die in this place, it's kind of gross, their skin is taken off the body, and then the skin is made into their kind of skin book, and the book is given to the families to keep so they can look through and remember their loved one's life. But they only get it if that person is deemed to be like a good and worthy person by the government when their soul is weighed. And there's a problem with her dad's tattoos, and she has to try to sort that out, and also kind of realize that, you know, this is maybe a little bit weird what's going on here. You know, this is maybe not usual, and she maybe needs to think about what's going on with all these tattoos. So it was cool. It was interesting, made me think a little bit, which we love. And then my final fiction book was Yellowface, which I had for my birthday, and I was really, really looking forward to reading this one. It was cool. I can't say I absolutely loved it. It's not like my favorite book of the year, but it did really make me think. So it's about this white woman who's she's a writer, but her wedding hasn't gone very well. She has to have another job. It doesn't make a lot of money from it, and it's all a bit disappointing. But her friend, who is Asian, she is like, her books are huge. She's living, you know, the blockbuster writer sweet life with all the champagne and the nice apartments and the billboards and everything. Anyway, her friend dies suddenly, and the white woman goes and steals her friend's manuscript, which is only in kind of draft form, and then she rewrites it and publishes it as her own. And I suppose it's kind of about, it's about the morals of doing that, but it's also about the state of the publishing industry, and like just how a book becomes a bestseller. How often it's not actually to do with how great the book is, it's just to do with whether the publisher has decided that this is the author that they're going to push, this is the author who is going to have a bestseller, because they are what the public want at the moment, if you like. So yeah, really, really interesting, great ending, which just really made me laugh. Actually, it was good. I would recommend that one. So there we go. So I'm really, really excited about October with my reading, because I have got Kindle Unlimited for a couple of months. So what I'm going to be doing during October is reading loads and loads of books by my friends, especially my AuthorTuber friends. So I've already started and I've read a couple, because when I'm filming this, it is the 3rd of October. So I've read a couple of short stories by my friend R.C. Scott, and I'm also almost finished with my friend Richard Holiday's book, and I've started author Anne Sophie's book as well. So I'm reading quite a few. I think I'm a bit overexcited, basically. I've got my Samsung tablet. I don't usually read ebooks, but I'm enjoying it, honestly. I'm enjoying it. It's so lovely to have so many of my friends' books available to me, and to be reading them, really getting into them. So yeah, that is what I'm doing for October. It's going to be great fun, and I'm really looking forward to sharing a lot of recommendations with you at the end of the month. Thank you so much for joining me for the video today. What have you been reading in the last month? Is there anything that you would recommend to me? Although, honestly, my TBR pile is huge, so it would need to be really, really good for me to be able to slot that in. But let me know anyway. Please remember to boop that like button if you haven't already, and also subscribe if you're not, because we have a lot of fun over here, and it would be lovely if you could hang around, and I will catch you in the next one.